Several years ago, I was at Conner Prairie, a restored settlement in Indiana. And walking through the village, I came across the schoolhouse, and I went in to have a look around. And I was astounded by what I saw. There was an environment that looked just like the environment I teach in. There was a blackboard in the front. All the student seats were lined up and facing the same direction. 160 years, and the technological environment of the classroom was almost unchanged. So that worked on me, and I began thinking, what can I do in my classroom? How do I make use of what's happened in the 20th century to enhance my classroom? What I conceived of initially was that the TV monitor gave me a free-form blackboard, and they wouldn't be dependent on how much I could write in an hour, or to have to read my handwriting, which is horrible enough in English, let alone in Greek. And I could provide 6 to 12 times as many examples if I had them arranged ahead of time as I could if I tried to provide one on the board. I could put paradigms up there that I could never use on the board.
I think good teachers have a bag of tricks. And I think technology is a really important tool in that bag of tricks, particularly because so many of our students have grown up with this and they're visually oriented and they're turned on by it.
I really am mystified by how a person would think technology would get in the way of a learning process. I think of it as like a textbook. It's something that's essential to what we do. And I find it as a tool that enhances what we do, but I just can't even imagine how it would interfere.
One of the reasons that I use educational technology and materials to teach symmetry is to bring the outside world into the classroom. I can't always take my students out into the parking lot, or we can't always go on a little field trip. If you have a 50-minute class, it's impossible to do that. So what I've been able to do is to take things that they come in contact with on a daily basis, hubcaps and company logos and company symbols, and bring them into the classroom. They sit, they watch the hubcaps for 3-4 minutes, they watch the video that's been put together for 3-4 minutes. So basically in a 10-minute period of time, I have opened their horizons to something that hopefully will affect them the rest of their lives.
It has enabled me to improve the quality of my material immensely. I've been able to go out in the field and actually step into the landscape that I'm talking about and examine all its aspects, talk about soil types, talk about settlement patterns, talk about climatic conditions, and bring it right into the classroom, and that's very powerful.
With Perseus, for instance, I can take them to Salamis and show them an aerial shot of the Bay of Salamis, where the Battle of Salamis between the Greeks and the Persians took place. I can take them to various sculptures in the Greek temples that were built shortly thereafter, which all sort of depict the struggle, the epic struggle between the Greeks and the Persians in terms of gods and giants, or Greeks and Trojans, and so on. I can go to coins and show them coins that people may have used, may have gotten paid with during that period. And what it allows, I think, students is a better feel for the era. They can begin to experience it much more directly.
I teach advanced imaging to architecture students and visual art students. The environment where the students will go is a very competitive environment, and that kind of sets the standard for what our students would need to be aware of in technology. So yes, in a sense, I am creating for that student what they're going to face when they go out in the job market. If I could give it a visual metaphor, it's much more liquid than the traditional teaching process where I go into a series of desks and go from table to table to table.
We've decided that we need to do more with reflective teacher education. the standard classroom in higher education where the teacher presents information and the students receive the information and just answer questions in an examination form, or just even writing a formalized lesson plan was not enough. They needed to reflect on what it was they were seeing a practicing teacher do. So a video engineer on campus designed a system that is two-way audio, one-way video, and it allows our students to observe and interact with Renee Huffman and her first grade children at the Burris Laboratory School.
The interactive video allows Burris children and pre-service teachers to interact immediately together. They can discuss back and forth. The pre-service teachers can watch what's happening in my classroom. My children can't see what's happening in a teacher's college classroom, but they can see us. And my children can talk to them, and then they can respond back. And they can get immediate feedback. If after they've watched a lesson session with my children and my children have left to go to gym, then I can answer a question immediately about a discipline problem, about any question that might arise about a teaching style, about a learning behavior, or about a behavior in the classroom immediately.
University support was very strong. I've had 2 grants, one during the academic year and one during the summer, to produce the video floppies. And fortunately for me, that comes with the requirement to work with an instructional designer to put this material together, to question myself strongly enough so that I'm really working this material into my class. So that freed up some time. And working with the instructional designer gave me very clear and precise direction on how I had to go, and helped me organize the way I would structure this material and how I would integrate it into my package.
There are grants available for the development of courseware, which I've taken advantage of. There are opportunities to obtain money for the training of faculty and graduate assistants in the use of technology that's going to be used in the classroom. We've also taken advantage of some foundation funds that have been provided for the purchase of hardware.
I don't think it's necessary to spend a great deal of money in setting up a very formal structure of workshops and support mechanisms. I think above all what faculty need in order to move into the new technology, they need time. So if time is made available, faculty will start developing their own interests and start developing their own applications. In many cases, of course, you get pioneers who just make time. Perhaps one of the ways that you can spark interest is to support those people who are in the forefront, who can demonstrate to their colleagues what the technology can do.
I think that technology has created an environment where teaching may be going back to its traditional precepts of sharing, of simply sitting down and talking about an idea and testing that hypothesis or that concept, and less of an environment where I am simply an information processor to the student. And I think we're progressing in that way, and I think being a teaching institution as we are, it allows us to move back to that original precept. And I think that's the value of teaching, is creating that shared environment, and technology supports that concept and allows that concept to take place.